Okay, Eric. So one of the questions we've gotten multiple times on several different videos. First of all, on the specificity of your FI date, you say 2024, and then also, especially more recently, how have market conditions, if at all, changed your thoughts on your FI date?
My original FI date was shooting for June of 2024. So kind of midway through the year, I was thinking, okay, June 30th, we'll kind of lop it off there.
Okay.
That's the thinking. So as you know, we're recording this in at the end of May in 2022, and the past 5 months, nearly 6 months, have just watched the market in free fall, I feel like. And so it's hard not to feel like that date is getting pushed back. And I've been in enough fire communities on Reddit and online, seeing what people are, the sentiment of others who are on a similar path. And I think we're all feeling the same thing.
Sure.
My wife and I are talking about one more year. That's a real thing. And
Okay.
it changes, depending on what the market is doing. And I mean, obviously everything's costing more. This is a problem when my portfolio is down, everyone else's portfolio is down too. So this is not a problem that's unique to me.
That's right.
But as someone who's closer to my fire date than further away, there's people watching this who are in their 20s and 30s. They have nothing to worry about. But if you have a specific date and the market is tanking, you have to change it. Either you change your number that you're going to FI at, or you push the date back. And right now I just have to look at pushing the date back, and it's far enough in the future that I think I can do that and I can react. But I got a couple of inquiries this week for some cool projects, and I'm like, okay, well, I might have to take one of these, so it's definitely changing the calculus. And I would guess that everyone who's this close to FI is thinking about that too.
Yeah.
It also has me thinking, geez, this is a great buying opportunity. And if I had more dry powder,
Sure.
I'd be in on this, because I have a system for that, but I just don't. And, I think probably everyone's feeling the squeeze right now, for many different reasons. I'm happy that I own my home, that I'm not trying to buy real estate right now. If I were younger and trying to buy my first home, these are hard times, for everybody. But, my personal feeling, and you and I talked about this not long ago, is just I was feeling like a little deflated about the whole FI thing. Didn't feel like talking about it. Didn't feel like thinking about it. And, part of that's a function of watching your portfolio just, tank.
Yeah.
And part of it's just feeling, I just caught in this ugly news cycle of events and
Yeah.
just, a whole bunch of things swirling around. So I don't know if that sufficiently answers the question, but yeah, got to consider pushing the date back.
I am definitely thinking about you and others in your situation at this point. It doesn't feel good for any of us to have our portfolios down 20% from where they were. And you and I are both thinking about that from our respective places on the FI journey. But as someone who was watching my own date approach when, in that year or 2 years before, I acknowledge what that feels like and even be thinking anything like, well, maybe I push this back. So I'll certainly be interested in hearing more
Well,
of your thoughts.
what do you recommend I do?
Well, I mean, the answer right now is stay the course. None of us knows how long this downturn, this correction, does it turn into a bear market, will persist. So I think there's nothing in the moment you need to do differently, because to your point, it's not like you're already, unwinding positions and buying lots. You're not doing that right now. You're still making your normal contributions. You have your allocations set up as if you are 2 years from pulling the trigger on early retirement. So for me, my view, I'm not your financial advisor, of course, but I mean, you're doing the things you need to do.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. No, it's interesting because takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, but I expected this was going to happen. I expected there was going to be a correction. And I mean, I feel well positioned to weather it. I'm not sitting here thinking about selling in any
Correct.
way, but I do see, when I see the market selling off, I'm like, wow, they really are selling off.
Some people are, absolutely. And
It's incredible to me that that's
yeah,
happening, but that's just the way it is, and I can't fully explain why that is. Of course, the market is a complex beast and nobody can predict it, but that's a real thing. People are saying sell.
yeah, they are. But as you and I have discussed in a previous episode, right? I think that was my portfolio's down 20%. Neither of us are taking those kinds of moves. We are consistent in our approach. We have a plan that we feel good about. It doesn't mean that day to day there aren't days that it feels better than others. I think that's totally normal. And I know it's a discussion we got into more in an episode that hasn't even aired yet, where we talked about all this market volatility. So, people can stay tuned to that. I do wonder if this is going to become a theme that we have to, keep revisiting over some period of time, because, this could be protracted. None of us can know, to your point, but I think, I guess you and I are both staying tuned as well.
We haven't seen the bottom yet.
It's usually best to assume that. And just to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, no doubt. And actually, as using this show as a bit of catharsis has been helpful for me. So I think, if it helps other people in the same way, I do want to revisit these topics. And I know it probably feels like too often for you, but as someone in my position, it feels so tenuous and like, I just want to run and hide from it, but talking it through sometimes is just helpful.
Yeah. And no, it's not too frequent for me, given the amount of viewer feedback we get on this point.
Right.
And voicemails that come in via the SpeakPipe. I know others are thinking about it, whether they're really close to that line or on the other side of it with me. It doesn't really matter. Those different perspectives all are concerned about the state of their portfolio. Now, the good thing for us is we've seen this before. We've seen downturns, we've seen recovery, and we've seen, just kind of insane gains over a long period. So, we do have faith in the way the market operates. Try not to get distracted by people talking about unprecedented events, because almost everything that's happened in the market has not happened before. And so we just do our best.
It's funny when I open my Apple Stocks app, where I have all the funds that I own in there. And you know how you always say to kind of zoom out to feel better about it? I keep having to zoom out further and further now. I'm on the 2-year mark now. If you have a question you want answered on Two Sides of Fi, just leave us a message on our SpeakPipe at twosidesoffi.com, and we may choose yours to feature on an upcoming show.